Liberal journalist mocks Clint Eastwood in public. His stunning response leaves everyone silent. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? The bright studio lights gleamed over the late-night spotlight set, where Fiona Carrington held the throne. With her sharp wit and unapologetic progressive stance, Fiona had built a career as a fearless voice, skewering politicians, celebrities, and cultural norms with the same fiery energy. Her audience loved it, tuning in each night to watch her tear into guests with biting sarcasm and razor-sharp humor. During a routine production meeting, one of her producers threw out a bold idea: invite Clint Eastwood to the show. The room buzzed with excitement and skepticism. Clint, a Hollywood legend with an unmistakable presence, had been both revered and ridiculed over the years. His iconic roles in spaghetti westerns and gritty dramas made him a cinematic giant, but to some, his outspoken conservative views overshadowed his career. Fiona's eyes lit up at the suggestion. This was more than a ratings boost. It was a golden opportunity to challenge the ideals she believed were outdated, and what better person to embody them than Clint himself? Never one to come unprepared, Fiona dove into research with relentless energy. Clips of Clint's films and interviews filled her laptop screen as she jotted down notes, smirking at the thought of contrasting her modern, razor-sharp persona against his old-school, stoic demeanor. This wasn't just an interview, it was a showdown. Her audience would love it, she thought, already imagining the roaring laughter her quips would draw. Meanwhile, in Carmel, California, Clint Eastwood sat in his sunlit kitchen, a letter in one hand, a cup of black coffee in the other. His assistant, Jack, a younger man who had learned to read Clint's moods, hesitated before speaking. "Are you sure you want to do this? Fiona Carrington isn't exactly friendly territory." Clint gave a faint smile. His weathered face betrayed no irritation, no hesitation. Friendly or not, a conversation's a conversation. People can say what they want. It doesn't change the truth. Jack wasn't convinced. He'd seen enough of Fiona's interviews to know how ruthless she could be. "She's gonna come after you, Clint. Politics, your movies, probably even your age." Clint shrugged. "Let her." He placed the letter down, his gaze drifting toward the rolling hills outside. Sometimes it's not about winning or losing. It's about showing up. The build-up. As the days passed, both camps prepared in their own way. Fiona's team meticulously crafted her questions, ensuring each one was packed with irony and humor, just enough to get big laughs from the live audience. Clint, on the other hand, unbothered. He went about his routine as if nothing unusual was on the horizon. He refused to rehearse or plan comebacks, trusting his instincts instead. Whatever awaited him, he'd handle it the way he always had. When the night of the show arrived, the studio buzzed with anticipation. Fans and onlookers filed into the audience, eager to witness what promised to be an unforgettable exchange. Backstage, Fiona rehearsed her opening lines, her confidence unwavering. She glanced at her head writer, Veronica, with a smirk. "Tonight's gonna be legendary." Veronica nodded eagerly. "It's a guaranteed ratings hit. Clint's a walking symbol of everything your audience loves to critique." "Just keep it playful," she added, lowering her voice. "Don't give him too much room to respond." Fiona adjusted her microphone with a chuckle. "Please. He's 94. He won't keep up with me." Meanwhile, Clint arrived at the studio with little fanfare, dressed in a tailored blazer and jeans. His quiet confidence turned heads without him even trying. Jack, still uneasy, trailed behind. "Last chance to change your mind," he murmured. Clint chuckled. "You worry too much. It's just a conversation." In the green room, Clint casually sipped his water, watching the monitor as the show's opening sequence played. The audience cheered wildly as Fiona's name was announced. Jack, arms crossed, muttered, "Look at that crowd, they're already eating out of her hand." Clint leaned back unfazed. "That's her job. Mine's to tell the truth. Let's see what happens." The verbal duel begins. Fiona took the stage with her usual electric energy, kicking off with lighthearted jokes before pivoting to her main event. "Ladies and gentlemen, "We have a legend in the house tonight," she announced, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Clint Eastwood, an icon of Hollywood. A symbol of old-school masculinity. A man who still thinks talking to an empty chair is good entertainment." The audience erupted in laughter. Backstage, Clint watched with mild amusement, his expression unreadable. Jack, however, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "She's laying it on thick," he muttered. Clint nodded slightly.
"She's doing her job.
Let her have her fun." When Fiona finally introduced him, the applause was mixed, cheers, some boos. He stepped onto the stage, shook her hand firmly, then tipped his hat to the audience. A few laughs. Some scattered applause. "Mr. Eastwood, welcome to the show," Fiona greeted, her smile sharp. "Thanks for having me," Clint replied smoothly. "Nice crowd you got here." The tension in the room was almost tangible. Fiona leaned forward. "Oh, they're great. They love a good debate. Ready to dive in?" Clint's smile was faint. "Always." And with that, the verbal duel officially began. The turning point. Fiona wasted no time. "Clint, you've had a career spanning over 6 decades. Impressive. But don't you ever think it's time to let the younger generation take over?" The crowd chuckled. Clint tilted his head slightly. "Work's not about age, Fiona. It's about what you bring to the table. Whether you're 25 or 94, if you have something worth saying or doing, why stop?" The audience clapped politely, but Fiona wasn't letting up. "Fair enough, but times change, don't they?" she pressed. "Your films, classics, no doubt. But let's be honest, they're not exactly known for progressive representation. Ever feel like those old-school values just don't hold up anymore?" More laughter. Applause. Clint leaned back, unshaken. Movies reflect their time. They capture what people thought, felt, struggled with. Sure, some of it doesn't age well, but that's true of anything. Progress isn't about erasing the past, it's about learning from it. The audience quieted, processing his words. Fiona, sensing a shift, pivoted quickly. "Fair point, but let's talk politics." By now, though, something had changed. Clint wasn't just holding his own, he was winning them over. And for the first time that night, Fiona found herself without a comeback.